Okay, so find your little half sheet, your little cheat sheet that has the rules on it. Wait for my bubble to come back. Okay, on that little half sheet, it has an example of multiplying decimals. It also has a multiplying fractions example. We're focusing over on the left side today. Over there, it says multiply decimals. 3.1 times 4.02. Line up the numbers, not the decimals. We say ignore the decimal point. Okay, so then you're taking 402 times 31. Count the places after the decimals to determine decimal placement. We're going to shorten those rules. So to the left of that, here's our decimal. There's your little decimal cheat sheet right there. It has circles at the top, has all your words. Out here in the margin to the left, we're going to make 3 bullet points, and we're going to shorten those rules. Okay, I want you to write, ignore decimal points. To multiply decimals, first thing we do is we ignore the decimal points. You're just writing this out to the left on your half sheet. There we go. After we ignore the decimal points, what do we do? Colby? Ignore that, because we're pretending they're regular old numbers now. So we multiply normal. So multiply normal. Now, some of you really like using algorithms. Some of you really like lattice. Either way is fine. When you see a 3-digit number times a 2-digit number, whichever method you choose to multiply those two numbers together, that way is perfectly okay. Okay, you can do whichever method you are more comfortable with. After we multiply normal, how do we decide where our decimal point goes in our answer? Arabella? Let's not say add. We just physically count. We count. Count the decimal, I'm going to abbreviate, decimal places in the problem. And make the answer match. So ignore the decimal points, multiply normal, count the decimal places in the problem, and make the answer match. That's our 3 rules kind of condensed. Now we're just going to do several examples. Everybody have that? Okay. Grayson, you with me? Locate your worksheet that says K5 Learning at the top. It looks like this. We're going to start with some easy ones. So first, we ignore the decimal point. Decimal points. Callie, in number 1, if I ignore the decimal points, what numbers do you see? 9 times 7. Let's just write that under it so we know what we're doing here. When we ignore the decimal points, we also ignore those zeros. Okay? And decimal points are like little siblings or older siblings. We can ignore them for a little bit, but are they ever going to go away? No, they always come back. Okay? Just like those pesky little siblings. Okay? You can ignore them for a little bit, but they're always there. They're always going to come back. Okay? So what is 9 times 7, Cam? 9 times 7 is 63. I'm going to write it under here. 9 times 7 is 63. Is that my final answer? Or was it just ignore the decimal points and then multiply? Milo, what do I do now?
You have to do 2 loops because there's 2 behind the.
Okay, and we have to count up the decimal places in the problem and make the answer match. He did loops. We're going to show counting by just underline because we can physically see how many underlines we have. So I'm going to count them in the problem. I want you to do the same. There's 1, 2 in the problem, so I need how many in my answer? 2. We always start at the back. So we start at the far right side. I'm going to underline 1, 2 in my answer, and then I put my decimal point. Now, what is the best way to write that decimal? Aubrey? 0.63. We always rewrite our final answer without all of the extra stuff. We add in anything needed to make it proper. Okay, next one. And that's it. Ignore the decimal point, multiply, count the decimal places to put in your decimal point. Easton T, what math problem do I need to do on the next one? 2 times 5. I'm going to write that under here. 2 times 5 is what, Zach? 10. So I'm going to put a 10. Is my answer 10, Audrey? No. What do I do next?
You're going to put a decimal in front of 10.
What? Not yet. We're not there yet. I count the decimal points in the problem. 1, 2 in the problem, so I need 1, 2 in my answer. Place my decimal point. Sophia, how can I write that one? 0.10. Or, does anybody have a better way to write? That's perfectly okay for right now, but Michaela, what else could I put there? 0.1, because do we even really need that extra 0 at the back? We need it long enough to count our decimal places, but once we figure out what our answer is, we could write 0.1 because it's really not needed back there. Let's do the next one. Now, we can do this one the easy way or the hard way. Do you say I'm 11.0 years old? Why not? Emma? Yeah, it's really not needed. So sometimes you can simplify the problem before you even start it. What is 1.0? What's an easier way to write 1.0? 1. I want you to write this as 1 times 0.05. Turn off your math brain, turn on your common sense brain. Anything times 1 is what, Easton? The same. So what is the answer to this one? 0.05. Now, I'm going to show you the hard way to do that, and our rule still applies. I'm going to change colors and do it at the top. You don't have to write this. If I ignore the decimal points, Sophia, what numbers do you see?
1 and 5.
You don't see 1, you see what number? 10 times 5. What is 10 times 5, Sophia? 50. Okay, so ignore the decimal point, do my math. If I counted this, I'd have 1, 2, 3 decimals in the problem, so I need 1, 2, 3 decimals in my answer. What would I fill in that empty blank? Aubrey?
0.
A 0. So I'd put a 0 there and a 0 there. Do these two have the same value? Yeah, because remember I could add extra zeros. Which way was easier? The way we did it in red or the way I did it in blue? Red. So sometimes our common sense brain can help us make these problems a little bit easier. I'm going to skip down to number 9 just to show you one more thing before we move on to one hard one. That's about all we'll have time for. Ignore the decimal point. Ty, what numbers do you see on number 9? If I ignore the decimal point.
3 and 7.
What's 3 times 7, Ty?
21.
Okay, I'm going to write 2, 1. Drake, what do I do next?
Count the numbers after the decimal.
Yeah, I count the decimal places in my problem. I have 1, 2, 3 in the problem. Caleb, why is this one weird?
Because it
I have 3 decimal places in my problem, which means I need how many in my answer? 3. So when I go to count, I have 1, 2, 3. And this is why I want us to use lines, because it's more obvious. Zach, what do you think goes in that empty blank? A 0. So who can tell me what will I write on my answer line? Kylie? 0.021. Okay, easy enough. Flip it to the back side. Now, backside you're going to work on loose leaf. That's why I had you get out a piece of loose leaf. So on your loose leaf, I want you to copy down. Let's do problem number 1. So on your loose leaf, copy this. It's not numbered. That's why I don't like this worksheet so much. On your loose leaf, copy this problem exactly how it looks. 7.5 times 5,311.4. Now, when you're using loose leaf, I'm going to pick on Mila. Oh, wait, Mila doesn't have it. Michaela has it. Tyson doesn't. You should number your work. And again, this one doesn't have a number, so it's hard. But Michaela has 1 decimal point 7.5. Why might that get confusing? Mila?
Because they might think that's in their problem.
Yeah, and again, these ones don't have numbers, so that's harder to do. But anytime I'm working with decimals, I circle the problem number, so I don't think it's a decimal number. So, step 1, ignore the decimal points. If I ignore the decimal points, what numbers do we see? Aubrey?
75 and 53,114.
Yes, okay. When we would set those up to multiply, which one would I want on top? Emma? Yeah, so when we set this up, I'm going to set it up like that. You set it up like that on loose leaf. 53114 times 75. We're going to solve this one using algorithm. If you prefer lattice on your homework, you can use lattice. Easton T, walk me through what we do. You talk all right.
First, you do 5 times 4.
Okay. 20. Regroup the 2. Keep going.
5 times 9 will be 5, plus 2 will be 7.
Okay, good job. Keep going.
5 times 9 will be 5.
Okay, good job. Keep going.
5 times 3 will be 15. We group the 1. 5 times 5 will be 25. Plus 1 will be 26.
Okay, pause. Next is where people have been messing up. We have to add the 0. Some of us are forgetting that, and it's getting us every time. I'm going to add my 0. Cam, take over. You talk all right.
7 times 4,
28. I'm going to put my 8. Regroup my what?
2 times 1 is
Okay. Plus 2. Ty, you with me? 9. Keep going.
7 times 1 is
Okay, keep going. Regroup my 2. Keep going. Plus 2. 37. So 7, 3. Then we add those long, ugly numbers. 0, 5. Sorry, I have lots of numbers there. 3, 9, 8, 3, 5, 5, 0. Is that my answer? What do we have to do to finish it, Mila?
So you have to see how much number is behind the decimal.
Count the decimal points in the decimal places in the problem. 1, 2 in the problem. 1, 2 in our answer. Rewrite. Make sure your decimal points are kind of exaggerated and look like decimal points because some of our answers might also have commas. Now, the hardest part on these is you have to be able to multiply big numbers. Do we sometimes mess up on goofy things on these?
Yes.
Okay. Your homework. You only have 4 problems on the back side, okay? So look up here so you know what 4 problems to do. Does everybody have this? Okay. So on the back side, I'm going to put an X by them. Find the one that says 6.4. We're about to go. I'm hurrying. Put an X by that one. 1, 2, 3. And this one's number 4. On the front side, hold on, don't get up yet. On the front side, flip to the front side. Those are the easy ones, flip to the front side. You have the evens. Where are the evens? The right column. You have the whole right column on the front side. So you'll have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Those ones won't take you long. Do the back side on loose leaf. Front side you can do right there on that piece of paper. Make sense? Okay, you guys can go. I will see you tomorrow.